Elon Musk and Twitter, for example. What does Elon Musk want to do with Twitter? He wants to make it X, the everything app. Data is the new oil, as is often being said. Whoever owns the everything app is going to own most of the data. They're going to be the new oil barons, the data barons.
This is the lady, what's her name? Whitney Webb, who is telling all of the secrets. This lady right here, she goes hard. You talking about somebody that does research and then put people on blast? OMG. Listen, we're going to check this out together. She's having a conversation with Patrick Bet-David over on Valuetainment.
When I see, the questions with Elon Musk is, hey, he announces CEO, the new CEO that's coming, the ex-NBC Universal lady who comes in and, World Economic Forum, everybody's losing their minds. I asked a question. I did a poll the other day on Twitter. Rob, if you pull it up, I said, good hire, bad hire, let's wait and see. Good hire was 6%. Wow. Bad hire was like 20-something%. Let's wait and see was like 60-something%, right, on what people want to see. But when that was made, the same day or the next day after he made the hire, you saw the article comes out about Musk. You saw what Soros article comes out, and you see what Musk out of nowhere, if you want to pull up what Musk tweets at Soros the next day, calling him, Soros is Magneto.
And when Elon Musk hired that lady, Linda Yaccarino, when he hired Linda Yaccarino, you know what I saw on the internet? What I mostly saw on the internet was people being upset that Elon Musk did not hire someone of the LGBTQ community. I promise you that was a big issue. The gays was mad that he did not hire a gay. Okay, let's continue.
The next day, calling him, Soros is Magneto. And then
I didn't see that.
Oh, you didn't see this. He says Soros is Magneto.
I may have been traveling when this happened.
Yeah, so. I'm sure. So he says, Soros is Magneto. If you want to show this tweet, Soros reminds me of Magneto, right? And this thing just takes off 42 million views on this tweet. So everybody's responding. I can't believe you said this. He's trying to do this. The reality is Magneto was also a guy that dealt with the Holocaust, and the story is a survivor of it, and that's kind of what he's going through. So it's really a cause behind it. Anyways, so my concern becomes when
Elon Musk is turning the internet into a Netflix series. There, I said it. And, I don't think Elon Musk is a bad guy. I actually think he's a cool dude. I think what he's doing is he's shaking things up like crazy, but I know that everything he does is intentional. I know everything he does is intentional. And I think we all need to be careful. That's all I'm going to say.
Somebody that's been, here's what I'm for. I'm for this. I'm for that. I'm for this. I'm for, we got to get off of advertisers. We got to be doing all subscription. All of a sudden, you bring in an advertising agency, a veteran in the marketplace to go and get advertisers. And she's a BlackRock, edifying Larry Fink, edifying fake news is not real. Yeah. Did something happen? Did they find, or that's the part that kind of throws me off sometimes.
So she works for the conglomerate. She works for the monsters who already run everything. Elon, what happened there? We're going down the same route. Okay, let's wait and see.
Well, I think some of these, I see Elon Musk as a person who has like a very specific persona he wants to project to the public, and then there's business Musk, right? And I don't think they're necessarily always the same person. So, for example, Elon Musk, a lot of people maybe forget, he's a big military contractor. And also, the Space Force, that's also an intelligence agency. So he's technically a military and intelligence contractor. In order to keep your contracting business with those things, there's certain rules you have to play by, and certain things I would assume you can and can't say, or you'll lose those lucrative contracts. And if you look at someone like Elon Musk and his business history, a lot of his companies would not have been successful, would not have been successful without significant subsidies from the government. So, I feel like in order to get those deals, there's certain rules you have to abide by to an extent, at least when it comes to your business decisions and certain things, right?
Obviously, the brother is playing the game too. There's no one out there who are 1,000% free, 100% free. Do you think Tucker Carlson is free enough to go on Twitter and say whatever he wants to say without any ramifications? I don't think we're there yet.
Right. So maybe he wants to project, this persona of like, I'm one of the bros, I'm one of the guys, I believe in free speech and all of this. And certainly when he bought Twitter, that's what he said. But then it became, oh, yeah, free speech, but not freedom of reach. And now it's sort of changing again with the appointment of this new CEO. And again, I don't really have any high hopes, and I didn't necessarily when Musk bought Twitter, just because I tend to be kind of skeptical, and I guess you could probably say cynical about these types of people. And, I personally, just from my own, experience with Epstein research, I have found Musk not to be very upfront about.
Wait a minute. World Economic Forum? People have been warning me about the WEF. I just need to be quiet. Let me just go ahead and watch this right here. What in the holy crap, bruh? What am I missing here? Because I was told by a lot of people in my comment sections, a lot of people in my emails, people reaching out to me on Instagram and everything, you need to watch out for the WEF. You need to do some videos on the WEF. You need to find out more about the WEF. And also back to what she said about Elon Musk, telling people that, yeah, you do have freedom of speech, but you don't have freedom of reach. That just means, in a roundabout way, that we can still shut you down, Jack, on the internet for whatever the hell we want. Yeah, you can say whatever you want to say, but guess what? We can quiet your platform a bit. We have the right to do that, and we will. But I thought that goes against what we were trying to what we was trying to stop in the first place, and why people were super excited to have Elon Musk at the helm on Twitter. That's just me.
About some of those connections there. So, for example, he'll be like, a lot of people like to bring up the picture of him and Ghislaine Maxwell from 2014. He'll say he was photobombed and all of this. But he won't bring up the fact, well, at least reporters seem to have forgotten, that Kimball Musk, his brother, who's on the board of Tesla and SpaceX, was introduced to a member of Epstein's entourage who had dated Epstein and lived at the apartments on 301 66th Street East, where all these traffic girls lived. A girl from there starts dating Kimball Musk, and somehow Epstein is allegedly granted access to SpaceX facilities.
This lady knows her sugar honey iced tea, bruh.
Tours, and then is allegedly advising Tesla, according to the New York Times reporter James Stewart, who was told by someone else that Epstein was advising Tesla, and then goes before Epstein's 2019 arrest and most of his public infamy, goes and asks him about if the rumors were true, and Epstein says yes. And this is during a time when Musk is saying he's trying to secure capital to take Tesla private, I believe, and this was allegedly involving one of the Saudi wealth funds of the Saudi government. And at that time, Epstein was a very, very close advisor to Mohammed bin Salman, who had recently come to power. And if you remember back to when the Epstein story the scandal sort of broke in 2019, it wasn't just talking about his townhouse having all these pictures of him and Clinton. There were a lot, probably as much as Clinton, of Epstein with MBS, Mohammed bin Salman.
What's the relationship? That's pretty random for a Jewish businessman with maybe ties to the Mossad to be doing business with the Saudi kingdom, MBS?
Yes, but Mohammed bin Salman was brought to power in a way that was very uncharacteristic for Saudi Arabia. There it's not father to son hierarchy, right? It's like seniority within the royal family. Usually it's like elderly uncles.
Who is this lady? Whitney Webb is so damn sharp. I see why she's on the Valuetainment show with Patrick Bet-David. I get it now. I get it completely, 1,000%. I got to step up my intellect so I can be able to be on shows with them guys. If I'm on there now, I can shoot the sugar honey iced tea about many different things. But when it comes to politics and the people who are the figureheads, who are actually making all the rules, the people who are in the middle of it all, I'll be quiet as hell.
That become the next crown prince and whatnot. And he was very young, in his 30s, when he came to power. And he hammered out things like the Abraham Accords with people like Jared Kushner. He was texting Jared Kushner all the time, who, of course, has a very close relationship with the Netanyahu family, for example. So, again, that seems rather uncharacteristic as well. And it's very possible that, given the geopolitical plays in the Middle East and North Africa, a lot of that often has to do with, people that are either for or against Israel. What government's going to shifting the balance of power there, normalizing relationships with Israel. And so the Abraham Accords obviously were a huge step towards normalizing the relationship with Israel in the region. And they may have seen oh, there's this upstart prince that's really ambitious, and if we can get him in, then maybe he'll help us push that normalization just a bit further. So, there's a lot of question marks there, but it seems to me that may have been something to do with it. And I also think this might be the thread to pull on to find out the real reason Epstein was arrested in 2019, because if you think about who MBS took out, Mohammed bin Nayef, that guy was very, very close to John Brennan, who was the CIA director. And John Brennan was very unhappy with MBS's rise to power. And if you have Epstein close to MBS, John Brennan, who's also a big guy behind Russiagate and all of this stuff, and around MBS you have Kushner, right? You have Epstein. It seems like there's two intelligence-linked factions sort of duking it out. And if Epstein was on one side and the other side sort of wanted to send a message to that side,
It's very rare that somebody's on the Valuetainment show where they allowed them to talk this much uninterrupted. This lady knows all the players. She is like a walking, talking history book. She's following everything. She's investigating everything. Sheesh.
This the article I think you're talking about. Jeffrey Epstein claimed he was helping Elon Musk find a new chairman for Tesla. This is
part of it.
Yeah, that's one of the stories. But again, to me, there's two different stories. The one is I did business with this guy. And Kimball, right now, I think he's got a vertical farming company. He's doing a whole different thing.
This is before.
This is before that, yeah. So two different things. So one, for example, I'll give you a crazy story. So I first come to Florida, okay? I'm doing a project, and it's called Mafia States of America. We're having it with all these ex-mob gangsters and people that are in that world. I go to this restaurant, Casa D'Angelo. First day I go there, the person I'm having dinner with is Michael Francis. Michael Francis was one of the top earners in the capo. He was a capo in the Colombo family. And he comes in, and this Casa D'Angelo place is ran by Italians. So they know who he is. Buonasera, they're talking to him, and we grab a seat. The next day, I go there with Chaz Palminteri, the actor from Bronx Tale, and he's done a bunch of mob movies, and he looks like, so he's got a incredible one-man show. So he comes with me next time. So, buonasera. Okay, great. The third time I go eat at this Italian restaurant, I bring Sammy the Bull Gravano, okay? And they see Sammy, they lose their minds. Like, holy shit, Sammy the Bull Gravano, the former underboss of the Gambino family, is here. We're sitting in the same table. By the fourth time, they thought I was an Italian gangster, okay? And I said, no, I'm from the Middle East. I am not. I'm just interviewing these guys because I have a relationship and I'm interested in that world. So we're doing a documentary, a show on this. So the challenge becomes sometimes when you're seen, people love to jump to conclusion and say, well, this is what's going on. The part I want to isolate is the following with Musk. I think what Musk is doing, 100% there's the argument of what he's taking from public, government funding, SpaceX, all this other stuff. Even Tesla, he has to answer to that. And that's part of, capitalism where you're getting money, all this stuff. That's a different story. The part that I want to isolate is him being linked to what Epstein did with the girls. There is nothing there with Musk.
No, not that I've seen with the girls.
I like how he tied that in. He when he was doing the documentary of all the mob bosses, and he kept showing up to this particular extremely fine dining Italian restaurant and seeing all these superstars there, but he's showing up with all these mob bosses, and they start to think by affiliation he must be this. And he's saying that might be the same thing that's going on with Elon, because he's making all of these relationships and connections. For what reason is he making these connections? Are we jumping to conclusions, or should we just call a thing right now? Because I know a lot of y'all already believe that you had the story already put together. But I like how he made that connection.
But there are significant business ties, and what I just mentioned is part of that. Another part I cover in my book, it's related to these brothers that worked for Epstein and his brother Mark Epstein at OSA Properties, which has been tied to the sex trafficking operation, those apartments I mentioned earlier, owned by OSA Properties. So one of these two brothers, Jonathan Barrett, that worked directly for Epstein and then worked for Mark Epstein at OSA Properties, works for this company called Luminous. And Luminous is an affiliate or related to LS Power. LS Power is a major supplier to Epstein. And a lot of these directors for Luminous, for example, are the same people that were directors for the special investment vehicle that Epstein had with Bear Stearns called Liquid Funding, and also in investment vehicles and companies tied to Glencore, which is Mark Rich, who's a well-known affiliate of pretty much openly referred to as a Mossad asset and stuff like that. He was a commodities trader, a fugitive from the U.S. for a long time because of helping Israel avoid the oil embargo of Arab nations. But for example, he was pardoned by Clinton really controversially. Allegedly, this was due to a lot of pressure put on Clinton by Ehud Barak at the time and things like that. So anyway, you have sort of those shared connections and the Kimball Musk thing. And then you have a woman named Nicole Junkerman that I wrote a lot about in the book who has invested in recent years very extensively in SpaceX. And Nicole Junkerman, maybe I should backtrack a little bit before getting to Nicole. So basically, what I note in my book is that there's the sex trafficking operation of Epstein everyone knows about, but there seems to have been another parallel operation that he used for influence ops, I guess you could say, involving women, but they were of age. They were women that were well educated in some cases, and probably most of the cases, but at least a few cases we know about, Epstein financed their graduate education and helped connect them. They ended up marrying or dating powerful people sort of in his circle. So allegedly Trump is one of these guys, right? So his girlfriend before Melania, Selena Middlefart, Epstein was taking her
Terrible
with him.
last name.
Did you say Middlefart? Selena Middlefart? That was Trump's old girlfriend / wife, Selena Middlefart?
Yeah.
Horrible.
I know.
Horrible name.
Well, she's Norwegian.
Spell that.
She's Norwegian, so maybe in Norway.
It's like a P-F-A-R-T.
No,
it's fart.
It's spelled fart. It's Middlefart. Yeah, she's a Norwegian heiress, very
tragic.
attractive despite the last name, I guess. Yeah, so that probably helped her out.
Good for her. That
Yeah,
was good. Yeah.
but she and a couple of these other women that Epstein was taking to the Clinton White House in the 90s ended up marrying very powerful people. And she dated Trump, and then allegedly Melania was introduced to Trump.
Her name is Selena Middlefart. Get out of here. How do you see? Here's the thing. How do you just have that information right there on the top of your brain to just flow it out? Bow, bow, bow. You have to be a fan of this. Like if I'm talking about the NBA, I'm talking about the finals, the playoffs, or something like that. Then, and I'm talking about a particular team or a couple of teams that I follow closely, I can do that. I know people who can talk about football the same way, boxing the same way, soccer the same way, hockey the same way. This is nuts.
Trump by Ghislaine and Jeffrey Epstein.
Wow.
They claimed that.
Who claims that?
I think it was either Ghislaine or Jeffrey Epstein at some point before their infamy.
They're saying
but
that's how Trump met Melania.
There's that allegation that they were introduced to each other, but the modeling industry thing with Epstein and Ghislaine, remember, this is before they were infamous necessarily, at least publicly. And Trump likes models. I think we all know that.
That's
right?
not breaking news.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not like it was, oh, look, meet Melania, who's underage at the time. Right. It wasn't like that. So again, if you're trying to secure influence with powerful people and you don't think they're susceptible to your sex blackmail op involving minors, you can be the matchmaker that sets them on the path to marital bliss, right? Because, whoever sets you up with your husband or wife, you might keep contact with for a long time, or if they come to ask for a favor, you might be willing to do so, right? So there's a few other cases where this happened. And one of these women is Melanie Walker that we can talk about later because she's part of the Bill Gates Epstein connection.
This Junkerman lady, I'm curious.
Yeah, so Nicole Junkerman appears to be another one of these women.
So she's not an Instagram model.
No, but she was a model. She's a former model, and now she is married to some Italian oil billionaire.
Right.
Very, very wealthy. He's much older than her, I think.
I saw that.
Yeah.
He's 63 or something like that, 66.
And she's very attractive, right?
Ferdinando Bracetti Peretti.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And so allegedly, there was this meeting in September 2002 in the United Kingdom at a home that is owned by Wexner, and Nicole Junkerman was on Epstein's arm with an unknown brunette woman and was passed off to these two U.S. senators that were there. And the allegation, the implication there, which this is right before the Iraq War vote, right? The allegation is that there may have been some sort of sexual blackmail occurring there. But why is Nicole Junkerman hanging out with Epstein and these senators at this place. It's a bit weird. And then there's some other business connections over the years. So, for example, Carbine 911, which is this sort of emergency 911 call center app or something like that, that's being sold all over the United States. It was created mainly by veterans of Unit 8200, which is Israel's signal intelligence agency. It was chaired, and one of their main investors was Ehud Barak, who, of course, we know by now was very close to Epstein. And Barak urged Epstein to invest, at least of what we know, at least $1 million into that company. And apparently Leslie Wexner also invested a lot of money. And at that same time, of course, Ehud Barak was getting a bunch of money from the Wexner Foundation. There was some weird stuff going on there. But one of the directors at the time when Ehud Barak was on the board, and Pinchas Bucharest, who's former commander of Unit 8200, and some of these other guys in this network, Nicole Junkerman's on the board of directors as well. And now she's invested in SpaceX. So she's one of these sort of Bond girls, I guess you could say, that was sort of around Epstein in this category with Melanie Walker, and now, you know what it is for me. Like, you can't control who invests into your company. Okay, you can and you can't. I mean, let me rephrase that. Yeah, but to an extent. So take Elon Musk and Twitter, for example. What does Elon Musk want to do with Twitter? He wants to make it X, the everything app, and he specifically, as a model for that, refers to WeChat. Right? And a lot of people don't really like WeChat, at least in the US, because it has so much data about everything you do. And if data is the new oil, as is often being said, whoever owns the everything app is going to own most of the data. They're going to be the new oil barons, the data barons of this era.
We casually talk about this, man, and I don't think enough people really understand how this is going to affect us in the near future. Already, actually, people, I've paid thousands of dollars for certain types of trainings so that I can learn how to expand whatever bit of business I want to expand. Each one of those trainings, probably like 3 or 4 times. Yeah, I wasted a lot of money because I don't learn the way everyone learns. But the one thing that they stressed was how to set up a landing page, the perfect landing page, so that you can capture people's information. You can get their email addresses. You get them to sign up with their phone numbers and all this other stuff. I don't know what the hell to do with those things. So I'm like, I never set it up properly. Never. I'm like, can we get to what I'm actually paying you for to teach me how to expand my business? And they was like, yeah, this is it. Through information, like when you have people's information, you can now, whenever you have a product, you have a service, you can reach out to them and you can call them, you can reach out to them in a certain type of way. You can market directly to the people who come through your landing page. And I'm like, but I'm still not seeing where that could make me more money. I don't understand that, or how that can expand my business. They're like, you're not listening. The people's information is how you will expand your business. I never went that route. I started to feel a little like slimy about doing it that way, and I completely stopped. Invested so much money in trying to expand my business, and because that one part right there made me feel slimy, I didn't even move forward. Whereas we have people like Elon Musk and others who understand that every single time someone signs up for something, make sure you get their email address. Every single time they sign up for something, get their phone number, get their full name, get this, get that, get this, get that. Let me tell y'all something, man. Yeah, like I said before, I think Elon Musk is a good dude, but people don't understand that he does everything intentionally, and he's already done the math on this. He is next level. He's a next level thinker. What's to come? Just make sure y'all are ready. And get yourself a voice online, please.